What's up, everybody? Lots of stuff going on around here today. I am going to be taking you on a tour of my property, talking about a few projects that are going to be going on around here over the next little while, couple of months or so, and start working on a couple of them today. So, get ready, because we are going to be spraying weeds, feeding trees, seeing how our sand leveling is filling in, and really just doing a ton of yard work. So, let's get into the video. Roll it!
What's up, everybody?
And now a word from our sponsor, Rikers Island Family Chemical Brand Company. Weeds. In the garden, in the walkways, in driveways, and flower beds. Hey, we've all got them. Are you sick of this mess? The complicated reading of labels, tedious, back-breaking work. Well, you're in luck. It's time for you to try new organic maximum strength Bend-A-Knees. Bend-A-Knees is the simple solution for all of your weed control needs. Prickly ones? Just wait. Try One Glove. One Glove can be used in conjunction with Bend-A-Knees for all of those stubborn weeds. So don't let this happen to you. Get over the back-breaking work and get Bend-A-Knees. Bend-A-Knees is a Rikers Island Family Chemical brand product. I'm starting to think those Rikers Island guys are just a bunch of crooks. Now, for the last week or so, I've been monitoring how much sunlight is really hitting down onto this space, and it's getting between 6 and 7 hours right now as the sun passes overhead. So that's not really too bad. Let me show you what I'm looking at for doing a project, get everybody's minds where this is going to go, and then we'll talk about this little patch here real quick. All right, so by now most of you have seen this tiny home I've got back here. This actually functioned as an office for me for quite some time, but right now the Travis man himself lives back there, who takes care of things when I'm gone, and just an all-around good broken fellow. There's a plan here that's going to be taking place, and it's going to be in multi-stages based loosely around this, but then something else happening up above beyond the shed. So let me start down here first. I already have plans drawn up to take this whole roof line out and deck this whole area that's behind me and turn it into a little bit more of a kind of a different sort of hangout space with sliding glass doors, and it'll be kind of a nice comfortable thing. So that little bed's going to go away, as are all those trees along the side. Those are going to go away. So let's talk about some of the trees here, what they look like and what's going on with them. The best way I can really explain this with all these trees is it's kind of the enchanted forest. Okay, so I have multiple fruit trees growing back here, cherries, there's crab apples, there's a little apple tree, I have choke cherries here, I have a ton of Colorado blue spruce, I've got aspen trees, and I've got a bunch of Austrian pines as well. So all of those grow well here. That does okay. Now, when I bought this property, you couldn't walk through where I just did. It was so thick and full of trees, nothing could get through here. There were dwarf Alberta spruce planted all through, shrubs and all kinds of stuff. So I took the time and really thinned this out. Now what you can see is most of the aspen trees are diseased. They have what's called cytospora, and it just kills from the tips down, and it spreads and jumps from aspen tree to aspen tree. So you can see it here where it's been trimmed back. That's in bad shape. It's all down the bark. That one over there behind it has it. This big one behind the tiny home, it's got it as well. So does this Swedish aspen that was here in the middle. There used to be a much larger tree, but this just kills the entire tree, so this has to be removed. And I can show you, even though it looks like it's gonna have buds, it ain't. So right now behind me, this area just immediately to my back is all going to be dug out, excavated, and a garage with a shop is actually gonna go right here. So it's going to connect in to where the grass is currently up top, and allow me to build greater retaining walls around here where the trampoline is and add more turf area up above. So plans are drawn for that. We're waiting on the county right now to approve it, and then we're gonna get digging on this. Probably by June is what we're hoping. It's gonna be somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks. So that's going to be going here, which is gonna change this whole landscape. So behind me where the trampoline is, this is actually going to get elevated to about 5 or 6 feet. So the trampoline can sink down inside of it, and I'll be able to add more turf area up on a level plane behind. So when all this happens, the major change that's going to go on is that is going to go away. When that goes away, I will be taking this rock wall down and around and adding another large turf area, but not just any turf area. I'm actually going to put in a golf green there with pin cross bent grass. So now we're going to go back down to that tiny spot and talk about it again. When I started to get this idea of putting in a golf green, I really want to do it the real way, the right way, and I want to have it done as close to spec as I can. It's not going to be a USGA course, so I'm not really too worried about that, but it's going to be done correctly. So I'm taking this area right here. I'm going to clean out this bed, scrape a bit of this soil out, lower it a little, bring in some sand. It's not going to be a whole lot. This is only about 40 square feet. And then I am actually going to seed in that bent grass in through here and see how it takes, because the sunlight here is going to be very similar to what's over there when all that rock retaining is done and the shade between the trees and everything else. So I just want to see how well it can establish and what it's going to look like. And then I'll have a kind of a small putting green right here for a little while until all of that gets done, which I'm hoping is going to be this year. It's just going to be a multi-phased approach to getting it all done. So I'll be seeding this entire area and prepping this out, cleaning it, and we'll see how that's going to establish. Now, there will be a mix of sand, a mix of peat, and a mix of the existing topsoil. Again, this is not going to be specced out. This is just going to be something I can get level and flat and start growing in. And we'll just see how that seed comes along. So another project that's going to be happening here, and this isn't on my property, it's on my next door neighbors. You can see behind me, they have a vegetable garden area that I'm adopting this year. We're going to be growing in it together. I've got some work to do over there as far as chicken wire fencing, hooking up the easy flow to make sure it's feeding all the time. And I'm also going to get this lawn really whipped up and into shape. From here, it's looking pretty green. We'll get over there and I'll kind of show you what's going on. That'll be part of the next video coming up, so stay tuned to watch for that. But these project lawns are getting pretty fun, and I imagine for a lot of you out there, it's cool to see how these results just kind of stack on top of each other, and it's not that hard to create just a beautiful green space. And of course, speaking of beautiful green space, I might as well show off mine for a second. Let's go take a look at that sand fill. Okay, so take a look at this day of. And now today. So we are now 9 days since I did this leveling. There's spots in here where I filled it in almost 3 inches deep to really get the good level spot going. So you can see that really most of this turf that's showing is lighter in color, and that's because it was underground and somewhat suffocated, and now it's back up, and it's got to use the sun and produce chlorophyll and get itself green back up. So there's going to be sort of a little bit of a yellow discoloration as this all comes in and fills itself back in, but it's happening really, really quickly. I'm going to now let the lawn grow up to about 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit more before I cut it again, and let it kind of fill back in the way that I'd like it before I start doing anything shorter. There'll be some fun yard games and things like that happening up here pretty soon, but for now, it's all about getting this thing thick, turning it into the best possible grass that it can possibly be. Look at this, let me just pan over here. Look at this color. Just the areas that are awake. And again, you can see the line right where I put the sand and fill right there to the rest of the existing lawn. Just how dark that is. It's freaking amazing. I have to remind everybody that it's still very, very early. In fact, look at this picture from May of last year and compare it to this. It's pretty badass. All right, so next thing's next. We're gonna walk out here onto the gravel drive and I'll show you a little bit about what's going on out here. Let's look at some more trees, talk about killing some weeds and things like that. One thing I get a lot of here is Canada thistle, and those are a noxious weed in the state of Utah and need to be destroyed. So all of that's going to get destroyed. So this is all part of my sort of heavily forested stuff. And again, I have cut out trees and trees and trees from here because it was just too thick and overgrown. Now, I've terminated irrigation to every single one of these trees now because they're deep in the ground, they're established, and they don't need the extra water. Plus, the way, and this is just a shitty design, excuse the pun, my septic tank is right here, my leach field is there. So this is getting water and kind of some crappy stuff getting down there all the time. So, let's go a little further. I don't think people really truly grasp the total slope that I live on here and how steep this hill is until they get here or try to ride a bike off of it. I've got tons of thistle. I've got a plow guy who destroyed all this lighting. I'm gonna be replacing all the lighting, killing all these weeds. This is from people sliding even off the driveway that way. Damage to the trees, again, from sliding. All of this is gonna have to be addressed. It's a wreck down here. But now I'm gonna turn this as I get towards the bottom of the driveway, and you can see how steep the hill is that I was just standing on up there. So this is a pretty hefty slope. So I've got about 20 yards of bark coming, shredded bark, to refreshen this whole thing up. I think it'll probably be here Monday or Tuesday. So that's going to be a major project. But there's a lot of stuff down here that's going to have to get taken care of. All right, so after that tour, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna kill weeds. I'm gonna go around the whole property, kill all that stuff, get it all dead. Start cultivating that back bed to get it ready to plant my bent grass seed into. And then we may do a little bit of work on the garden next door as well. So I kind of have a lot to do, and I'm gonna get right on it. Okay, first and foremost, read the label. Now, Meso, or Tenacity, is running about 3 ounces an acre. It's not very much. So in order for me to do what I need to do around here, I only need 1 teaspoon in 2 gallons to go and spot spray what I need to. Now, I'm going to end up spiking this with a little glyphosate as well, just because there's grassy weeds I want to get knocked out around the property. So I'll be putting that in. That's up in the shed. So we're just going to do this little measurement simply first. 1 plastic teaspoon is going to be your best option for this. Now, for those of you who don't know, there are 6 teaspoons in an ounce, 3 ounces an acre. Break it down, do the math. You're going to see what I'm about to put in here. Thick and gooey, nice and chewy. Remember your gloves. Remember all of your protective equipment. You know I like to just rock it with the flippies most of the time. Not today. We will not be doing that. So, there she goes. That's all it's going to take. That weed made a valiant attempt to get into the lawn. Not today, stupid. Well, as with all lawn care related things, we now suddenly have maybe a pop-up thunderstorm coming our way, which is perfectly timely since I just finished spraying all those weeds. We'll get to see how much that's going to affect us. You know, none of this was in the forecast. That's fine. Who cares? Perhaps we'll be touching it up. So, this rain break, I'm gonna go sit inside, maybe go ahead and start editing this video, and then try to come out and do some of these other projects. Yep. After 2 hours of spraying weeds, the rains came. That means I get to do it all again. That's it for me today.
Tune in next time for more Failures in Lawn Care with John Perry on Lawncology. See you guys real soon.